Okay, Jonathan Fibonojji, best street photographer, urban photographer, documentary filmmaker, fill in your own adjectives. I don't care. You know, I got photography on my mind, mine on my photography out here in DGO. I love Durango. They got some of the best. The thing is, there's so much about Durango I love, even though I can't stand the cops out here. But, these cops are nothing compared to Baltimore and New York. Maybe someday Nikon, if you're watching this channel, I would love to be. I'd like to go out there and photograph some cities that are under fire, and kind of get rid of the fake news out there, and kind of give a Jonathan Fibonojji perspective of Baltimore. I guess I'm kind of waffling a little bit here, because I was watching some photography documentaries, some photography tutorials. And I was watching this one girl, and she's out of Los Angeles, and she's a fashion photographer. And she made a point that I would kind of pass on to other photographers. And she said, go into a bedroom. Or I forgot exactly how she said it. She said, go into a room, turn off the light, and decide what kind of photographer you want to be. This picture here may not be the best picture you've ever seen, but it's a picture of all these different people in Durango advertising their small business, kind of spiritual guru people. And what she was saying is, the world is full of photographers. You got to be you and decide what you love. And for me, I love documentary film. I love street photography, raw photography. You mean like out of focus photography? Yes. But more importantly, I've been thinking a lot about my passion for photography and what I like and what I would like to bring. And, yes, I love taking pictures of landscapes. I would love to have a documentary film in the Durango documentary film or the mountain film. This is me just trying to get my flash to work. Probably the only photographer on YouTube showing you my bad pictures. You're like, Jonathan Fibonojji, your pictures are kind of like, well, yeah, well, sometimes you have to evolve as an artist. And part of evolving is just doing what you like. And so here you go. I love photographing. In essence, I love photographing things. Well, let me say that differently. My love of photography comes from, I love to photograph the essence of whatever I'm photographing. Say that 3 times too fast. So whether I'm taking a picture of a person, a landscape, a mortuary, I love capturing the essence of a city, a person, a group of people. In fact, the one reason why I took this picture is I liked that there was a story that the guy that built this house built it so that his wife would like Durango, because I think she lived in Spain or something. And he built this house, and now it's a mortuary. And I just think that's an interesting story. And how many people in Durango even know that the mortuary was really a bribe to some guy's wife? So men out there, remember, if you got to bribe your wife to like something, you got the wrong wife. You're like, is that relationship advice, or are you talking about like trees? I love trees, and I also like to promote small businesses, because nothing, in my opinion, promotes small businesses more than photography and real-time photography. I've thought about doing like food photography or hotel photography, but right now I just am focusing on street photography, and these are kind of some of my how-tos and things that I've learned. And if I could put it in one word of what I love of photography, what I aim for, it would be the word connection. Connection. And that no matter what the lens you're shooting with, whether it's an iPhone, this picture here was taken with an iPhone. And sometimes I think photographers, especially professional photographers, we get so caught up in lenses. But man, I like just to go out there and shoot and take pictures of people and capture those essences, because when you're really in the pocket, as I like to say it, when you're in that connection point, there's nothing more valuable than time in that connection. And I don't really think about f-stops. I don't think about what mode I need to go to. I'm thinking about the subject I'm talking to or that I'm photographing, and I'm trying to keep it as pure and raw and intimate and honest as possible. Like this guy here, I just liked the fact that he was cutting down some trees. And he didn't like it, so he kind of gave me a few okay, photography Fibonojji guy, and then eventually he asked me to leave. And one of my pieces of advice to photographers is it's better to ask, or what's the saying? It's better to ask for forgiveness than for permission. So that's a tip number one. You can get some of the best pictures if you just go in and say, listen, this is my fucking world too, and I'm going to photograph it Fibonojji style. If you want to call that street photography, it's fine. Anyway, tell him hi. Heartwood West. In fact, I think we need more trees in this world. So tell him I said hello. If you go to the Hood Mortuary, boom. I think I said earlier that in today's DGO, they were talking about a local coroner and how that's its own world, and how I like to bring people into a world with my photography. So whatever you want to call me, a street photographer, documentary filmmaker, just call me Jonathan Fibonojji. And I just love photography. But I'm going to talk, the thing is, this is also YouTube. And the world is full of photographers. And of course, I want my work recognized like anybody does. I would love to get invitations from Vogue magazine to photograph not just the fashion stuff, but the world of fashion, and really bring a Fibonacci touch to it. I would love to photograph the White House. I would love to photograph Elon Musk. I would love to photograph Annie Leibovitz. There's so many things that I would love to photograph. As long as I'm capturing the essence of either friendship, a local community, that's what I'm after. And here's kind of a how-to, if you will. And this isn't something that I thought about and then did. It's something I did and I recognized I did it. So here's kind of a photography tip, Jonathan Fibonacci, how to do street photography Fibonacci style. Is I'm more of a sequence photographer, which means I take a lot of pictures. And, like this is a great example. Right after I photographed this group of friends, and again, I like the number 4, I like the number 8, 5, I guess artism matters. But I like to let the person have the freedom to do whatever they're wanting to do. And my job is just to hold my own space and say, you're fucking beautiful. I'm going to capture this. Unapologetically, fuck you. You're beautiful. Smile or don't smile. So I'm a sequence photographer, and maybe that came out of day trading where there's patterns. Well, what is a sequence photographer? Well, notice this beautiful woman. Now, she just walked up. She's not looking to get her picture taken, but she's gorgeous. And I've noticed just how pictures evolve. And I noticed even Annie Leibovitz, she had an interesting comment. She said, I don't view my job as trying to make that person feel comfortable. I'm like, well, yeah. And then I realized most people who take a picture try to make that person look good. My attitude is I want to get out of the way so that your beauty shines through. And there's a sequence. And of course, I'm a comic and I can make anybody laugh. Of course, these are some teenagers. I'm like, girls, guys, this is a couple, man bun. I'm like, you're doing it wrong. You are doing it wrong. Like Jonathan Fibonacci jokes. Here's another example. Some beautiful, they're doing it wrong. That's not how we did it. Of course, this is Durango. That's just, to me, that's just interesting. We got two beautiful, got a guy and a woman, I don't know how old they are, like playing wheelbarrow. Okay? That's why I love Durango. Here's another example of a sequence photographer, which is what I am. Which again, my job is to capture their essence as they show it to me and not to force the issue. And if they ever front on me, I kind of call their shit and they start laughing at me. Isn't that beautiful? Just regular people and authentic smiles. That's why I love photography. Of course, I can make anybody laugh. Isn't she beautiful? Now that's an authentic smile. And my aim, I think, subconsciously is if you see this picture in 20 years, you would want this picture. Her family would want this picture. I wish I would have taken more pictures of my grandmother. Again, just two friends laughing, and I'm there to capture it. Not to force it, to capture it. And then she's like, okay, did you see it? I saw it. I got the doubles, baby. Again, you guys are doing it wrong. You are doing it wrong. But hey, to each their own. Of course, artism matters and patterns. So what is the pocket? What is the Jonathan Fibonojji pocket? Well, there's off-camera flash, and there's also taking the camera off your eye and getting down and seeing the world from that perspective and seeing what pictures and images come up. Of course, I love black and white, but I guess I'm a little insecure in the aspect that I feel like I won't sell as many pictures, but if I don't do black and white or if I don't do color. But for me, I think this is a better picture than, say, this or this. What do you think? In fact, let me show you a real-life example. Of course, boom, you got to love the Jonathan Fibonojji. That's out there when I was in Sausalito. You've seen this a bazillion times. Oh, by the way, email me, americano417@gmail.com. americano417@gmail.com. Tell me what your thoughts are. If you like me to come photograph like a wedding, I want to be the second shooter only. I want to take the fun pictures. I don't want all the pressure. Yeah, I would love to come take pictures of your family and capture the essence of the friendships that will probably outlast the wedding itself. So yes, I would love to do some second shooter work, have passport, will travel. Even stuff like this. This is another reason why I love Durango. There's a rock out here called the four-way test, 291. Email me, americano417@gmail.com, and buy this print in black and white. Let me frame it up for you. Spend, I don't know, $200, $300, $400. I don't know, $85. And put that on your wall at your work. And tell me if that picture, if the Fibonacci art doesn't change the environment of your church or your office or your home. The four-way test is what we say the truth. Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and friendships? Is it beneficial? That's why I love Durango. In the Bible it says the rocks will cry out. Again, the power of imagery, putting this on your wall. How will that impact a factory or an office if the boss, instead of lecturing, says, hey, around here we go Fibonacci holla. They're like, what? No, we just bought this picture and it's changed our whole business. I'm like, well, it must be Jonathan Fibonacci. So let's talk about the pocket. And that's what I'm calling when you just are in the moment photographing somebody, and my job is to make them feel comfortable, and I want them to feel honored, because it is a privilege to photograph them, but fuck them that they're going to front on me and present some sort of image that they want to present. And I'm going to show them that they're beautiful just the way they are. And one of my favorite things is to show people in real time their beauty. And there was one time I took a picture of a woman and I said, aren't you beautiful? And she says, yeah, I am beautiful. And it made me feel so good because my art form made somebody feel better about themselves. And she said it in like a surprised way. I'm like, holy shit, I'm Jonathan Fibonacci. You're not supposed to be surprised. I'm like, yeah. This woman out here on Main Street, she saw me before I saw her. I'm like, I have to take your picture. And she kind of, it was almost like a little game. But isn't she gorgeous? I said, man, you're just so beautiful. I have to take your picture. And I did. And I know her boyfriend or her husband, her mom, her dad would love to have this print. Isn't she gorgeous? Black and white. Jonathan Fibonacci. Then everybody who knows me knows that I love the El Rancho out here in Durango. It's kind of a special place for me. You're like, bring it. Well, okay, there's just an ad. I just thought that was funny. I mean, that's just think it's funny when old people get mad. Free pizza. In fact, I think free pizza should be. Wouldn't it be cool if the El Rancho every Friday did free pizza for the Ravens? Bring it. We need to frame that up for Chip out here in Durango. Feed my sheep. In my old profession, I was a mortgage lender. I know. Isn't that terrible? 10 years I spent answering questions about mortgages. Of course, I loved it. I loved the connection of helping people understand numbers and math, but it wasn't my passion. I was really good at it, but it wasn't my passion. My passion is connection with people and documentary filmmakers and Thor and the Gaslight. And eventually I'm going to sue the city and I'm going to buy the Gaslight and we're all going to party, and that's how we'll get going. So what did you learn today? You know, I'm talking about Durango, and I'm talking about documentary filmmakers, and I'm talking about street photography. But really, whatever label you want to put on it, it's simply, I love photography. Architectures, I just love black and white photography. And my advice to you is get out there, be honest, and take pictures that you enjoy looking at. And if you can bless other people with your art, that's the double. But when I'm out there with my camera, I'm having fun. Even if the door is locked. Holy shit, this $10 an hour town, this resort community, I guess you're going to resort to doing whatever you want. I wish I had 40. I heard Taylor Swift has 40 writers on every album that she produces. Now think about it. She's like, what? How old is that chick now? She has 40 people helping her take her pictures. See, photographers, we have our cameras and we have our eyes and we have just our energy. To me, I think photography and comedy are the purest art forms there are. Where would your life be without photography? Of course, I try to get a job at the Durango Herald. Of course, they don't want Fibonojji. They need Fibonacci, but they don't know it. They're in that phase where they're kind of cutting down. They've gone to like 4 issues a week. I'm like, it's because Durango, the economy is suffering. And we need good journalism. And good journalism is not Fox News or CNN. It's local news. And of course, if I actually said that, they would agree with me, and then they would roll their eyes and they'd say, I think he's crazy. He's talking about the local community paper being the epicenter of truthful news. Well, remember, crazy is a federally protected status. San Francisco Chronicle, hire me. Or better yet, Second Shooters, or if you have an event, I would love to come out there and take pictures, and mostly black and white. And yes, I'll take some color, and then I'll improve as a photographer, and you'll get some amazing prints. Believe it or not, this picture is the train. This picture is the train. It's an open shutter. I was just kind of experimenting. There's another tip. Just experiment. When was the last time you got out there and just experimented? This is the train going by, and I'm taking it on the black and white. I thought it was interesting that this might be just the caboose, I don't know. But on some level, the caboose or the Durango train looks like that. Okay, thank you for taking this journey with me. You know, everybody has all these amazing prints out there, and I'm just a photojournalist, kind of a documentary filmmaker, taking pictures of the regular world. This is kind of an art show out here in Durango, what I'm calling gluten-free art. These are a bunch of women that get together and try to impress themselves. But I thought it was interesting, you know, that when, like, what were they trying to portray? You know, they put their blindfolds on and kind of acted like mummies, and it was very beautiful to document. And I thought, well, if you want a visual representation of where feminism is, come out here and notice that these women are blindfolded. And feminism had a good run. But now a lot of these women are They're blind. They don't realize what a man-hating world really looks like. All women love privilege, but they also love men. And when men are abused and when men are relegated to a second class, remember, it's about equality. And today's feminism is not about equality. It's about man-hating and privilege. And I'm telling that story in other videos. But I thought that was so beautiful to photograph. And it just happened. It was just something that showed up in my life. So get out there and take pictures. Tell me what you notice. For me, it's always black and white. Something about a black and white image and the truthfulness of, I don't know, maybe a hair salon person. Working late. She finally recognized me. These are just Main Street. Oh yeah, you always want to buy the shoes. Life is short, buy the shoes. In fact, if you see a homeless person, buy them some shoes and tell them Jonathan Fibonojji says hello. They're like, Jonathan Fibonojji says hello? Yeah, Jonathan Fibonojji says hello. Now this guy, I messed this picture up. This guy walks up to me and I knew he wanted me to take his picture, but it was just, and I said, so do you want to just take your picture? Do you want to go sentimental? Do you want to tell me something? I said, or do you want me just to go fuck you and take your picture? And he goes, just take my fucking picture. Boom. And I messed it up. I didn't have my off-camera flash, but it was such a good picture. And I'm sure if I turned that into color, but just sometimes getting out there and interfacing and making connections with community, you'd be amazed at some of the images that you can take away from it. Okay, everybody loves beautiful women, so let me show you a sequence of kind of how I work whenever I'm taking a picture. And again, it's never really a rehearsed thing. I don't have an agenda, except I want honesty, I want connection, I want humor. This is a woman just working in a local record store. Yes, we still have records. And again, that was just an honest moment where she's just talking on the phone, telling me to get out of there, pretending like I just loved that. She did a better job than me because my pic, wasn't as focused as I want. And yes, the lenses matter and the flash matters, but it's not about the equipment. It's about the connection. And I'm a Nikon guy, but it's always about the connection. And I think too often we as photographers put so much focus on the equipment. And I think that's more of the American spirit than photography. Dorothea Lange, who is an epic photographer who photographed the Great Depression. Dorothea Lange did not have the equipment that I'm holding right now. The Apollo 13 had less technology than my phone, but it still did some amazing things. So is this an anti-technology comment? No. It's a pro-connection comment. Even at a football game, the Durango Demons were playing, I think it was Erie. Of course, artism matters, and for me, it's all about the numbers. You can see the fence. There's kind of a barrier there. But I've never photographed a football game before until that day. And the Erie won, but, like I said, it's a very white city out here in Durango. Love to the other photographers. There's all different types of photographers. This guy, obviously, is the classic, quintessential, athletic scope going to 800, zooming in 800. And there's nothing wrong with that. I would love to borrow that scope for about 48 hours, and then I would return it and get a little nifty-50, because I like taking pictures of people in honest moments. So I hope this channel is blessing you. If you have any questions, but my advice to you is make it about connection. Try to grow as a photographer. You're going to make tons of mistakes. Show your work. When something happens amazing, think about what happened there. And that's part of the fun. of photography, of when something goes great, I kind of look back, I'm like, well, how did that happen? And then, not that you want to recreate the transcendence, but you want to learn from that. Even if it's a simple scoreboard. And take lots of pictures and remember to have fun and enjoy it. And don't get so caught up on the bullshit, the materialism. There's a guy that he wrote a book called the camera in your bag, and for him he was talking about the iPhone. He's like, the best camera is the one that's on you. For me, I love Nikon, obviously. You know, and you know, this was a photo shoot kind of gone bad. You know, I didn't do a good enough job here. This was a great example where he was trying to control. You can see his like little Sony there. He was trying to control it, and I was trying to let him have that privilege because obviously that's his girl, but he never let me take the pictures. And maybe the beauty of this sequence is a man not letting me do my art. And those are, I guess, decent, but those are some beautiful people. And finally, eventually, I guess they realized I wasn't going to kill them. I got that. And a good photographer, like a good pilot, can always, isn't she pretty? Even just the hair, just the black and white, you know, just with that, just to notice the lesson from that I'm learning is just how black and white can illuminate hair on a sweater. And would you even think like that without black and white imagery? Okay, I'm out of here. Thank you for taking this journey with me. Email me your thoughts, americano417@gmail.com, just like the coffee, americano417@gmail.com. Nikon sponsor this channel. I'd love to travel out to New York, San Francisco. I'd like to do events, maybe the Polar Express. And have fun. And then I'm going to close out with a bear. What do you do with a bear attack? Well, I'll show you. First of all, you keep your camera in your bag. You go to wildlife state, us, bears, go bears. Don't run or climb a tree. Talk to the bear. Yell at or throw something. Because bear attacks are extremely rare. Talking or clapping. See, this again, isn't that interesting? That, I mean, like, is somebody like, if a bear's really fucking attacking, I mean, you're gonna like talk, yeah, right. You're gonna fucking run, nigga, fucking run. There's a really good documentary called the Timothy Treadwell documentary. It's a really, that is an interesting documentary of a guy that got eaten by a grizzly. So he would have a different perspective on that. But out here in Durango, there's not grizzlies. There's just black and brown bears. And they're very intimidating. And, of course, there's the website. So don't run or climb a tree. Talk to the bear. And go take some pictures. Thank you for taking this journey with me. Americano417@gmail.com.